Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to you, sincere and hopefully like Akim, pushing the word of Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shai in spirit and in truth. So I want to get into this lesson dealing with a segment of this interview that is being had with, Scott Ritter. All right. He be keeping it real, man. This dude be keeping it real pertaining to this war. So he goes into the Abraham Accord, and we had actually mentioned this at camp this past week. So the whole Abraham Accord, when we was at camp, we had mentioned that, that's nothing more than pretty much hopping on board with the small hats, all right, the Israelis, and pretty much letting them tell you what to do. All right, so he actually reiterates that thought, or that comment we made, or I wouldn't necessarily call it a comment, the statement we made at camp. But before I play this, I want to get from DeepSeek. I want to get what I had actually asked. I said to break down to me everything there is to know about the Abraham Accord. All right. Now, the U.S. is trying to get nations, those Middle Eastern nations, all on board with the Abraham Accord. And they want Iran to pretty much hop on board as part of the war ending, which Iran's not going to do that. They're not going to fall subject to being told what to do by the Israelis. So real quick, I'm gonna read some of this Salaki. I'm a little tired. So it says, I asked DeepSeek, I said, break down to me everything there is to know about the Abraham Accord. It says the Abraham Accords are a pivotal moment in modern Middle Eastern diplomacy. Here's a breakdown of their core mechanics, motivations, and consequences. It says the core definition: the Accords are a series of agreements primarily brokered by the Trump administration in 2020 that officially normalized diplomatic and economic relations between Israel and several Arab nations, or Arab nations. The initial signatories were the United Arab Emirates, UAE, and Bahrain, followed later by Sudan and Morocco. All right, and all these nations are primarily, Arab nations, excluding, I'd say, Sudan. They're pretty much Hamites, but these nations are all they all follow the faith of Islam. All right, so that's something that they do have in common. It says the strategic shift. All right, the traditional Arab-Israeli paradigm was based on land for peace, meaning Arab states would only recognize Israel after the creation of a Palestinian state. All right, so that was the original, all right, the traditional Arab-Israeli paradigm. All right, it was based on the small hats recognizing, or recognizing the creation of a Palestinian state. Now, what's going on, what has been going on. There's been a genocide taking place over there. All right, the whole Gaza Strip is completely destroyed. Palestine is no more. As we knew it. So clearly, if you are on board with this Abraham Accords, you are on board with the small hats. Committing genocide. All right. It says the Accords introduce a peace for peace or economic for peace model where normalization was achieved without requiring Israel to make major concessions on the Palestinian issue. Though Morocco and Sudan did receive specific U.S. concessions. So with the Abraham Accord, that pretty much said F the Palestinian state, we gonna do what we gonna do, and y'all ain't gonna, recognize or even bat an eye at what we're doing to these Palestinians. Okay, so once again, any of these nations that are on board with the Abraham Accords, are pretty much in the pocket of the small hats. All right. It says the driving factors, shared interests, countering Iran. So how convenient is it that one of their driving factors is to come up against Iran? It says the UAE, Bahrain, and Israel share a deep concern over Iran's nuclear program and regional influence. The Accords allowed for intelligence sharing and a united security front. So that this whole accord is nothing more than the small hats pretty much getting information or intelligence from these nations to pretty much make them proxies in this war against Iran. Okay, because ultimately that's going to be one of the main, Iran is in that region right now is getting, it's getting jumped, so to say. All right, and it's holding its own, but it's getting jumped by the U.S., by Israel, by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, Bahrain. Okay, these nations all in the Middle East. That's all coming up against Iran. Okay, and who's the puppet master? The small hats, the Israelis. They're the puppet master with waging this war against the Iranians. All right, and their number one attack dog being Babylon the Great. All right, so it says economic and tech gains. The UAE and Israel are highly developed economies. The deals opened doors for massive trade, tourism, and technology transfers, especially in AI, agriculture, and finance, creating a powerful economic incentive. U.S. strategic realignment. For the U.S., the Accords were a way to strengthen the anti-Iran alliance while reducing its military footprint in the region. Well, guess what? The U.S. wants to reduce its military footprint in the region, which is bullshit. All right. They didn't want to do that. All right, but that actually did happen. And the way it happened was, or should I say is happening, is by Iran using those drones and missiles that they have to blow up U.S. backed or U.S. military bases that's stationed in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, all right, in the Middle East or West Asia, as it should be properly called. All right. It says the Palestinian angle. It says this is the most contentious part. Okay, the Accords largely bypassed the Palestinian leadership, weakening their leverage. All right, so these Accords is totally, here it is. They're Arabs themselves, the Palestinians, but they're not even invited to the party. You know, they can't even. They're not even invited to the party, man. All right, which is all that was done purposefully by way of the small hats, the tiny tops. It says while the UAE argued the deal would suspend Israeli annexation plans, a claim that did not hold long term. The Palestinian Authority viewed the deal as a betrayal that fractured the Arab consensus. Okay, so as the Palestinians put it, hey, that's a betrayal. You know, y'all you know, siding with the devil with the small hats. Meanwhile, their Arab brothers is getting blown away, getting sent back to the ether. You know, it says the results and consequences: economic boom. There has been a tangible surge in trade between the signatories, and direct flights have opened up tourism, defense cooperation. There is now significant military and technological collaboration between former adversaries. Pre October 7th momentum. Before the 2003 Hamas attack, the primary focus was on expanding the circle to include Saudi Arabia, which demanded, um, which remained conditional on U.S. security guarantees and Palestinian progress. You know, earlier I said, I think I said they were trying to get Iran to join the Abraham Accords. I believe it was Saudi Arabia. All right, so like if I misspoke. Um, but yeah, they're trying to. I believe they're trying to get Saudi Arabia to join um, the Abraham Accords as well. It says the Accords fundamentally redefine the geopolitical map of the Middle East, prioritizing mutual interests over traditional conflict narrative. While they brought tangible benefits to the signatories, they also deepened the rift with the Palestinians and significantly shifted the balance of power against Iran. All right, so I asked to list the signatories, and it lists them here. You know, Israel, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. Okay, so with that being read, I'm going to play a little bit of what Scott Ritter said pertaining to, um, these accords, or the Abraham Accords.
You think you have a policy that's being implemented, and the president decides that he's going to put something else out there without coordinating. This is what we're dealing with. This man is unstable, emotionally unstable. That's a polite way of saying that he is batshit crazy.
How about Donald Trump deciding, maybe together with Benjamin Netanyahu, the only way that they can convince Saudi Arabia to accept Abraham Accords would be the new attacks?
Yeah. Saudi Arabia, he just clarified it for me. All right, trying to get Saudi Arabia. Let's run that back.
Donald Trump deciding, maybe together with Benjamin Netanyahu, the only way that they can convince Saudi Arabia to accept Abraham Accords would be the new attacks, a devastating attack on the part of the acts of resistance on their soil, maybe destroy.
And you know what? This is with what he just said, them trying to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords. You know, you're seeing how both sides of this war how they're mustering, because we know according to the scriptures, Gog is going to be a guard unto certain nations, such as um, Iran, okay, Ethiopia, or in others, and we see how the U.S., you know, being that it is using these Arab nations as staging points, as garrisons, putting U.S. military bases in these Arab nations, which a lot of them have been completely evacuated and destroyed by way of Iranian drones and missiles. But nonetheless, uh, you see how the two sides of the war are shaping. Okay,
in oil facilities and putting up Abraham Accords would be the new attacks, a devastating attack on the part of the acts of resistance on their soil, maybe destroying oil facilities and putting a lot of pressure on them. That would convince the government in Saudi Arabia, the people, the king, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia to accept the Abraham Accords.
What are the Abrams Accords? Is it a defense arrangement? Does the Abrams Accord increase the security of Saudi Arabia? The answer is no. It's an economic and political arrangement. It's a recognition of Israel, and then you're going to do business with Israel. You know what would happen to the king if he came out and said, that's what we're doing?
I'm talking about the king of Saudi Arabia. If the king of Saudi Arabia said, we're hopping on board with the Abrams Accord,
He wouldn't be king. He wouldn't be king. The crown prince wouldn't be the crown prince.
Because they'd be pretty much relinquishing power and giving Israel control. Sort of like what the Babylon the Great is doing, merging the two militaries of the U.S. and Israel together. It's pretty much relinquishing power over to the small hats. All right, so as Scott Ritter said, them Saudi Arabians ain't gonna do that.
It's politically impossible for Saudi Arabia at this point in time to embrace the Abrams Accords under these conditions. So no, I don't see that. I mean, what's going on between Netanyahu and Trump? I mean, they're both in political trouble, but that's okay because they're masters. And remember, neither one of them are in charge. There's a larger cabal out there, the Grand Zionist Project, that's been promoting Greater Israel. And Netanyahu's not the driver there. Netanyahu's about ready to lose an election. He's over. He's finished. And when he loses that election, there's a good chance he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. Maybe his political allies will save him. But, Donald Trump, he's doomed in the midterms unless he totally rips up the Constitution and does something crazy.
All right, so I'm about to grab some precepts, but next I want to play this little segment here. I thought this was funny what he said about Babylon, man, about Donald Trump. All right, so here we go.
Because he's going to lose India, he's going to lose China, he's going to lose everybody. He's already lost them, but it's going to become confirmed. And the reality is he can't open up the Strait of Hormuz. He can't open up the Bab el-Mandeb Straits. So it's game, set, match. Please, Congress, please, 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 please pass this. Pass it. Because it will hasten the defeat of this irresponsible hegemon called the United States. And it will expose the absolute insanity of the United States Congress to the American people. And maybe in the midterm elections, we will wipe the slate clean. That's all we can hope for.
Do you think that Donald Trump would hand it over to the next president of the United States, or he's gonna have some sort of end to one of these two fronts?
Now, we ain't looking for no next president of the United States. All right, we us men of the Lord, we pray this is Esau's end, man. As the elder Adama from Boston, I was listening to his video this morning, and he was mentioning how just hastening the Lord's coming. Like if you have any, if you're not sincerely um hoping for this place to just crumble already, like you ain't in the right spirit. You know, if you are not just fed up and ready for this place to tank, ready for, you know, prophecy to come to pass, you know, as a much of a tribulation is going to be for all of us. You know, at the end of that is the kingdom of heaven, man. So we got to go through, you know, this time of Jacob's trouble to make it to the kingdom. So if you ain't, you know, just yearning for this place to just be destroyed, then you're not in the right spirit. You're tripping. All right. But yeah, we ain't looking for no the next president, another 4 years or some demonic ass Edomite uh, making life worse for everybody. Hell no, fuck that, man. All right.
or maybe two of them. States, or he's gonna have some sort of end to one of these two fronts, or maybe two of them. There are two fronts right now with Russia and with Iran. My question
It
is,
doesn't
how
matter what Donald Trump wants. That's what I'm trying to say. It only matters what Russia wants and what Iran wants. So let's stop talking about Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's the big boys right there. All right. He said it doesn't matter what Donald Trump wants. Babylon the Great is done. Put a fork in her. She's done. This place is done, man. All right. The whole world knows this place is a joke. And, you know, pertaining to this war, Russia and Iran is the you know, the big dogs that's you know, calling shots. All right. And you know, they're gonna escalate things. You know, on both sides, things is gonna escalate to where it's eventually gonna go nuclear, man. All right. And these individuals like Scott Ritter and Nima Al-Khorshid, if that's how you pronounce his name. You know, these people that's following this war very closely, they know America is done. All right. They know this war is gonna get real ugly. They know that there's you know, Donald Trump in the US is caught in a quagmire. All right. Trump's pride won't let him leave that region, the Middle East. You know, he knows he can't win, yet he's so full of pride that he refuses to just admit defeat. All right. So, you know, Babylon the Great's pride in whoever's in office, that pride is going to cause this place to be destroyed. Okay. So it doesn't matter what Babylon
Russia and
wants.
with Iran? My question
It
is,
doesn't
how
matter what Donald Trump wants.
It doesn't matter. Salaka.
That's what I'm trying to say. It only matters what Russia wants and what Iran wants. So let's stop talking about Donald Trump. He has no cards to play. This isn't an American game anymore. All right? So the question is, what does Russia want? And the question, what does Iran want? And you have to answer those questions. What America wants is irrelevant because America's not a rational actor. So what an irrational actor wants shouldn't matter, should it? Plus, America doesn't have any cards to play anymore. We don't. Do you really think this sanction bill is going to do anything? It's just going to hasten the destruction of the United States. Oh my God, in order to do something like this, you have to be in control of the world. You have to control everything to make this happen. We control nothing. We control absolutely nothing. All Iran has to do is squeeze harder on Bab el-Mandeb and Hormuz, and the United States collapses. Europe collapses. The whole charade collapses. To make sanctions work, the rules-based international order has to be up and running and fully functional. But it's been exposed by Mark Carney at Davos as a fraud. Everybody knows it's a fraud. There's nothing here. You can't enforce a rule unless you got a sheriff to enforce the rule, and the sheriff is fat, orange face, and unstable, and has no guns and has no ammunition for the guns. I mean, it's. We have to stop pretending the United States has relevance in the world today. We don't. We don't. We're just a declining power. And if we continue to do this stupidity, what we're going to see is the declining is going to become a collapse. And as an American, I don't want this to happen.
Well, I do. All right. So let's get some precepts, man. First precept, this is Isaiah 47 and 1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no more throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right. So at one point in time, America would be considered, or was considered, tender and delicate. Everybody wanted to come here. You got those old pictures of the early 1900s where, Europeans was getting off on boats. Late 1800s, early 1900s, Europeans getting off boats, steamboats, I want to say, or whatever type of boats they were that they took from Europe to come here. So-called immigrants, when really they, they pretty much were brought here. Okay. Not against their will. Okay. They came to America ultimately as fulfill prophecy. This place had to be populated, becoming that melting pot. All right. But at one point in time, every nation desired to come here, man. Which is why today you have people from all over the planet that live here in America. It was once a place of opportunity, economic opportunity, good paying jobs, so on and so forth. And it's no longer like that. All right. So this place is no more considered to be tender and delicate. All right. Verse 2, it says, take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Okay. In the NLT, it says, take heavy millstones and grind flour, remove your veil and strip off your robe, expose yourself to public view. So just imagine a woman that was a princess, all right, that, her face wasn't known to, the general public. Family members would know what she looked like and whatnot. But to the general public, it was known she was a princess, but, they don't even know, like, what she looked like. All right. And then imagine, that her family getting carted off into captivity. And now she got on, her skirts all, ripped, got her thighs showing. She's dirty. All right. Working as a slave. Exposed to public view. That's a shame, to her. Okay, so that's how the world is viewing America, like this shameless bitch. It says verse 3 in the KJV, it says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. All right, now look at the whole Epstein files. The very president that sits in the Oval Office, soiling his diaper, eating fish fillets from McDonald's, is found in the Epstein files, more times than the name Jesus can be found in the Bible. Okay, so that's shame, man. All right, that's complete shame. All right, so the Heavenly Father is going to take place. Going to take vengeance on this place. And when Yahushua returns, he's not going to meet Esau as a man. He's not coming back in mere mortal form to where Esau can use his AI and you know be victorious against conquering the Lord. We go, oh yeah, we thought we got him, over 2,000 years ago when we crucified him. Now we're going to use this AI and we're going to, destroy him and house his spirit in a on a floppy disk or some crazy ass shit that Esau got. How Esau, a hyperbolic chamber. We're going to freeze him. Elder Yashawamba had said something along the lines of Esau wanting to, take, kill off the prophets and keep their brains frozen and all that. You know what I'm saying? That's what Esau would want, man. All right. So Yahushua is not going to meet Esau as a man. Okay. He's coming back in complete power. Verse 4, it says, as for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. All right, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It says, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. This place is no longer considered that light on that hill anymore. The nation that got all the answers, all the opportunities. It says, verse 6, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. All right. Think about everything we as Israelites have suffered under, Babylon the Great. From the captivity of the northern and the southern kingdom, along with, just the hate that Esau has showed us, generations, upon generation upon generation. Esau has showed that he has that perpetual hatred. All right, even to this day, man. Look at Nolan Wales, that situation. Okay, Esau, from the common Edomite, some trailer park trash, to the elites, they all hate the Israelites. Okay, they all hate the Israelites, and when they don't show any mercy to the Lord's people. Okay, it says, thou didst show the no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou heavily laid thy yoke. All right, so they don't regard, the older aged Israelites. In the eyes of an Edomite, hey, you're just a nigger. Okay, but the Lord sees all that. He saw all that. Okay, it says, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. All right, so Esau didn't consider that everything he was doing against the chosen of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, the elect nation. All right, the chosen people of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, being the Israelites. Esau didn't consider that doing those things was going to come with a great judgment in the latter end of his rulership. All right. Verse 8, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures and dwellest carelessly. All right. And what other place would that be talking about outside of America? Because people here are careless as hell. All right. And are concerned with nothing more than pleasure. All right. It says that saith in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. And that's the sentiment or the mindset of, you know, the people collectively here in America, is that even though this place is on a decline, people are struggling to make ends meet. People hate their lives. Everything's polluted, from the air, the water, the food, the people. You know, everything is completely jacked up. Despite that being the case, the mindset of the average Babylonian is that nothing bad is going to happen to America. And even the ones who get online and try to give updates and, you know, current events and, you know, oh, this happened here, this, you know, in America, you know, going into the stock market, going into political shit, you know, war, whatever. A lot of them are hoping that things just go back to normal. You know, they really got to see it to believe it. As far as, you know, the things that they like preppers and stuff. You know, they might say certain things and report on certain things, but they got to see it to believe it. Us, the men of the Lord, we see it. All right, we see it via prophecy, and we know it's gonna happen. Ain't no shadow of a doubt in our minds that these, you know, these prophecies is going take place. You know, we don't doubt that the prophecies of Yahweh Shem Yahushua will take place. Okay. Midway through verse 8, it says, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know loss of children. Guess what? This place is going same way those Palestinians know the loss of children, it's going to be worse for America. All right, because once the missile touches down, ain't going to be nothing left of America. And the elder Ashiar from North Carolina, from the Carolina camp, was going into what was it? Warheads that I want to say either China or Russia or probably both was giving Iran. There were so many warheads that were housed in these missiles. All right, so we know what the scriptures say about you know, about the warheads that's going to destroy this place. 200 million. Okay, so we are definitely in those times, man. All right, we are in those times. So those missiles is going to bring about the utter and complete loss of children for Babylon the Great. Verse 9, it says, but these two things shall come upon thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So because of all the witchcraft, sorceries, you know, demonic bullshit that America is partaking in, conducts, promotes, teaches, so on and so forth, this place has to be completely eradicated. All right, completely swept away with thermonuclear fire. All right, Jeremiah 51 and verse 24, it says, I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahweh. All right, once again, because of what Esau here in Babylon has done to the apple of the Lord's eye, there's a recompense coming to this place. All right, verse 25, it says, "Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain." All right, and that destroying mountain is referring to America. "Saith the Lord Yahweh, which destroyest all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain." Excuse me, I was about to say a burnt offering. There's a video online of a eagle that had picked up a goat, and I believe it was a goat, and just dropped his ass from the top of a mountain, and that goat just fell and just was hitting rock after rock after rock after rock, tumbled, like neck broke, all kind of shit. You know, just lifeless, just rolling down this mountain so fast. Well, that's, parabolically what's going to happen to Babylon the Great. All right, what's going to happen to the Edomites, here in Babylon. Okay, at one time, America sat at the pinnacle of power, and it's no longer in that power seat. All right, and the way these nations, in particular Russia and Iran and China and so on and so forth, during World War III, the way these nations, Salakia, is going to roll this place down from that mountain, or as it says, roll thee down from the rocks, is by way of shooting those missiles over here. Okay, verse 26. "And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh." All right, so when this place is destroyed, there will be no more granite or marble or precious stone or wood or anything of that, any type of material you can use for construction to build a house and lay foundation here, or whatever the case may be. This place is going to be the biggest desert on the planet Earth, man. Okay. Verse 27, it says, set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat. Okay. Many and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Okay, so it mentions that to call together the nations that's going to be called together against her, being Babylon the Great. These nations that's going to be called Ararat, which is modern day Turkey. Okay, which Turkey's like a wild card in this World War III. Many, which Many is a region in Armenia. Okay, which Armenia is in that region. It's close to Georgia, Russia. All right, I want to say it's south of Georgia, Russia. Either south or southeast or southwest of Georgia, Russia, if I'm not mistaken. And it mentions Ashkenaz, which that when you look it up, it's a modern day Istanbul, which is also found in Turkey. Okay, so there's going to be more regions over in the so-called Middle East that's going to be pretty much pulled into this mustering of nations together for World War III. All right, because you got the UAE, the Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, you got Jordan, you got Israel, you got Iran, you got America, you got our Ukraine, you got Russia, all right, all actively shooting shit off and getting shit, shot at them, and people dying on both sides. You know, you got that going on right now, and it's just going to get more and more intense to where all these nations is going to be involved in this Third World War, which is the Most High getting these nations prepared to receive the recompense for what they've done to the children of Israel. All right, which is a beautiful thing. Okay, so it says, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. All right, so here in the NLT, the latter part of verse 27, it says, appoint a commander and bring a multitude of horses like swarming locusts. All right, so you're gonna have a bunch of, shit. You got the drones. This Third World War, they using drones like it ain't nothing. All right, a drone is like like locusts. All right, that can swarm a town, a city, a building, a location, and blow it up. Okay, and then ultimately, the fighter jets, all the machinery, so to say, that's going to be used in World War III, but ultimately the missiles, man. Okay. Verse 28, it says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, all right, which this is referring to the Russians, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the lands of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. So everything is going according to the Heavenly Father's plan perfectly. All right, so everything you see happening right now is being perfectly orchestrated by way of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, all right, using the holy angels to work on the minds of these rulers, to call shots that are favorable in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to fulfill his prophecy, his prophecies. All right, so, I just want to bring that out, man, going into the Abraham Accords and what Scott Ritter has said about Babylon by way of America, or not America, by way of Donald Trump not having any cards in this game. America's done, man. Okay, America's done. And the only ones who don't know that is you dumbass Americans. All right. So Lord willing, this is edifying. Till next time I say shalom.